Well, Likud party MK Nir Barkat is Israel's wealthiest lawmaker. He's denying any wrongdoing. Forbes estimates Barkat's worth at $140 million. He's denying any misconduct. His office releasing a statement saying Barkat filed a blind trust when he was elected to the Knesset alongside a full declaration of capital to the Ethics Committee. Potential conflicts of interest were later added. All of this in accordance with the law and beyond. And it's hard to disconnect the political interests at play in the publication of this ridiculous, quote, investigation, end quote. With us now is Dr. Alex Coleman, value creation expert with Tel Aviv University. Alex, I'm a simple man with a simple brain. This is a complicated story on many levels, right? We're talking about a high-stakes shell game where you're moving assets around, you're trying to shield them from discovery from the government. But the one thing on my mind right now is anything illegal here? Were crimes actually committed as off-putting as this story is, that the world's wealthiest, the most elite, are hiding their assets? Yeah. Is this criminal behavior?
No, not necessarily. It's on the spectrum between black and white. So we even saw an Israeli restaurant that opened a shell company there, which is totally legal. The gray areas are where you do not pay as much taxes as you would have. And the black areas are, for instance, Putin, who, in my opinion, is the world's wealthiest person, keeping money there as well as in other places. It's not so you have the whole spectrum. The fact that somebody has money there does not necessarily mean that they are criminals.
So I want to ask about Nir Barkat, who's denying any wrongdoing or criminal behavior. But is there a conflict of interest here? I mean, he has his brother now, right? And the interest of the blind trust and that his brother was the power here. What does this mean?
Well, blind means that you put your money in a bank and somebody in the bank manages your money independent of your activities as a member of Knesset. When you give the money to your brother and you also happen to share many businesses, because Barkat is so wealthy because he shared investments with his brother, thinking that his brother is a blind manager is really challenging. It's beyond my abilities.
Yeah, you kind of have to suspend belief to accept that.
Yes, it requires the ability.
But there was a full disclosure. I mean, and as you mentioned, the idea of moving money to Caribbean offshore accounts, that's kind of par for the course, right? At a certain level of wealth.
Right. But sometimes governments really frown on that, and as a result, some companies actually go through the motions of actually having an office there. Sometimes I've seen companies that actually ship products to they do nothing. They just download them, upload them, and keep on selling just so they can keep the pretext as if they actually have some activity there, even though we all know that nothing happens there except tax evasion. Yeah,
this Pandora story, it is a massive box, right, that was opened, and it's hundreds of politicians and lawmakers and kings. What surprises you, perhaps, from the details of this report? I mean, we have the King of Jordan involved, who basically is saying, I'm a king. I can have houses wherever I want to have houses, right?
It's good to be the king.
That's one thing that's surprising, right? I think that.
But when you think about Jordan's appalling financial situation, Jordan is doing very poorly economically. So when the king has so much money, this is problematic. We've seen this with quite a few leaders. I want to go into the good news. The good news are that this phenomenon is shrinking. The US Department of Treasury was very aggressive in attacking originally Switzerland. Switzerland was the ultimate shelter, and the US was so aggressive, basically telling them, if you do not enforce transparency, we will shut you off. So Switzerland is off that, and many banks across the world are taking their hands off. So I believe...
Is that momentum continuing also in the Caribbean and offshore accounts there?
Yes. I'm sure that this is really the last shreds that we're seeing, and we'll see less and less of that.
So do you believe, or do you hope that the Pandora Paper expose can actually lead to concrete changes and the continued push in this?
Absolutely. I think that if people realize that suddenly their best kept secret are in the limelight, and people will shudder and they'll look for other alternatives, perhaps even having them on the legally in the bank.
Yeah, the way
The way
should.
the
The old days, the simple people do.
Yes.
Dr. Coleman, thank you so much for your analysis on the story. Great to have you.